Hi everybody, how you doing? It's a great day. It's always a great day when you get to harvest watermelon, your own watermelon grown in Saskatchewan. There's nothing like fresh watermelon just off the vine, iced a bit maybe and to get it nice and cold. And we've been blessed with some amazing weather for the end of September. Today's the 25th and it's supposed to be 25 today. Sorry, today's the 26th. It's supposed to be 25 today. It was 30 yesterday. It's a little breezy, but man, this is a gift for sure. So I'm going to harvest the watermelon. I checked them, and it seems that most of them are ready. The weather is going to turn at the most. I'd get maybe another 3 days out here before I'd have to pick them, or cover them. I've already covered them the last week. We had a big rain. And then it got kind of cool. I did cover them one night. I thought we were going to get frost. And so I covered additionally with blankets. And yeah, it's time for them to come out. I'm Sharon. I garden in Zone 3, East Central Saskatchewan. And this is MySaskGarden. So I'll just go over it, how you can tell if a watermelon is ripe. The tendril here that is nearest to the stem of the watermelon should be dry. That's not the be-all and end-all, because there have been times that I've waited for that tendril to dry and then the watermelon is overripe. But the other way you can look for is that nice yellow sunspot on the bottom. And when it's white, it's not quite ripe, but when it's yellow, it's going to be ripe. It also sounds ripe. And it goes from glossy to, the rind goes from glossy to kind of dull. Those are all signs that you can tell that the watermelon is ripe. You can see that my vines have really deteriorated since that big rain. It almost looks, they're crunchy. It almost looks like they did freeze, although I'm sure they didn't, but I don't know what's going on here. The vines are still alive and green. It's just the leaves are really bad. These little white marks on the watermelon, that's slug damage. I do have slugs in this bed, and I'm sure that if I leave them any longer, they'll do even more damage. I see most of them have just the very outer layer of the rind, and once it got down to the white, it didn't eat anymore. So there's one. This one, the tendril is drying, but not dry yet. But look at that nice yellow spot there. So I'm going to cut this for sure. On this one, I see that there is a hole here and it's soft around the hole. That could be a slug that got all the way in. I'm not sure, but I'll probably be cutting this one open first. I leave them just on a shelf in the basement, and they last for, I don't know, 3 weeks on the shelf. And then at some point I do put them in the basement fridge once that gets emptied out a little bit and I have a little bit more room. Then I put them in the fridge, and they will keep for a long time. I always think, the ones that we get in the store, see, this one might not be very ripe. I don't know. I can leave it a couple days yet, maybe. Same with this little baby. I always think that the ones we get in the store have been in transit for quite a while, and they've been sitting in a warehouse, in a food warehouse, and then they're sitting in the grocery store. I always think that they manage to stay a good long time before somebody actually eats them. So the ones that come off fresh from the garden should have a long shelf life. I've never had one spoil. Oh, see, this one also has some slug damage and a soft spot. I wasn't going to cut it, but I guess I will. It doesn't look, it's starting to get yellow, but I'm not sure that that's going to be very ripe. But yeah, this one is being eaten. I'm sure it's a slug. I can't think of what else it might be. This little baby is turning, but it's still quite white. This one, this little guy is also turning. I'm not sure what, I think I'll cut him off. He's a little bit soft. We'll just see what he looks like inside. Oh, look at that, turning yellow. This is the Sureness variety. It is a yellow fleshed, and it's very sweet when it's ripe. Oh, this is a nice one. The tendril is drying, not quite dry. And there's a nice yellow spot. And it looks like the slug didn't get inside of this one yet. This one also has a nice yellow spot. The tendril is dry. Same with this one. And that tendril, the first tendril from the stem that you see, that's the one you look at for the dryness. Oh, I thought I only had 8, but I guess I have more. 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm going to land up with 10. This one isn't ripe. I'm going to leave that for a couple days. I'm going to put it up on something so maybe the slugs can't get it. Also, what I could do is that one that I cut open and maybe sacrifice another small one and put them down on the ground, and the slugs will be drawn to them. And this is the last one, and it is also not ripe at all, not turning at all there, although the tendril is dry, so I don't know what to make of that. I think since I'm leaving one, I'll leave the other. If we get, 3 days of nice weather, maybe they'll have a chance to ripen a little bit more before I pick them. But I'll put them on something so that the slugs don't get them. So we're going to bring these in the house, and I'll cut one open so you can see the flesh. And I think we'll do a test on the brix measurement, which is the sugar content of the watermelon. I have one of those instruments that reads that, and we'll see how it turned out in the long run. I've already harvested 2 from here, and they're very tasty for sure. It's such a treat to have watermelon in Saskatchewan. This is the Sureness variety, and it has never disappointed me. Okay, so we're in the house, as you can see, and I'm going to cut into this one that has the most slug damage. It got in there pretty good, and by the looks of this, the flesh looks really good. So I'm just going to slice that part off. Got it all. And then I'll cut into it. Oh yeah, that looks really nice. It's not mushy. The other nice thing about this watermelon is it's not seedless, but it doesn't really have very many seeds. It smells good. So we just need to get some, I've got this thing, it's called a refractometer. That's what measures the brix rate. And I just need to get some juice. You just need a drop. You just put a drop or 2 on here. Close this up. Kind of spreads it around when you close it up. And then it tells me that the brix is about 9, I think. So it's not going to be overly sweet. Um, Google tells me that the typical brix of melons should start at around 10 to 11, and 14 would be quite sweet for most palates. So I have had 14 on these, or perhaps more. I wonder if it'll make a difference if I go into the center where it's riper. I wonder if that'll matter that it's still a little bit damp. Oh yeah, that did make a difference. Now it's up at around 11, maybe approaching 12. The best thing, of course, is the taste test, right? Mm. Yes, that's very good. So I harvested, or there's going to be 10 once I get the other 2 out of the garden. And I had 6 plants. And considering the start they had, I planted them out in early June, or when we still had some nice weather. And then, you know, it got so cold, and it got to 3 one night at the end of June. Like, it was just, June was just an awful month. I was almost ready to pull those watermelon and plant something else in that bed. I thought that they wouldn't amount to anything. Even though I had them covered and I had them protected from the wind and all that, they still can't deal with the 3-degree nights, and the leaves were all curled up. They looked awful. But I'll take this for sure. Thanks very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Cheers. That's good stuff.